I think, thoughts is powerful. Even my career, even my life, things end up turning out exactly how I visualized it. Not in this time frame I expected. You know what I'm saying? You always want shit to happen overnight. Mm-hmm. But, I just had clear visions.
What's good? What's good? It's your boy Dex 300, OMD Dex 300, aka Doc Savage, the man of bronze, in the San Fernando Valley Studios. And this is the Corner Store Podcast. And thank you for joining me tonight. I just got set up. I was in a little bit of a rush. Came in here, set up the cam. Still putting it up before I even went live. I should have did that before I went live, but it is what it is. How's everybody doing out there? Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well. Hope your family's doing well. We are back today, and normally on Tuesdays, and we are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm trying to do those nights like I normally did when I was on another channel. By the way, shout out to Tony Television. Tony from Tony Television. That's the homie. One of the guys who kind of got me going in the podcast direction. I've always wanted to do a podcast, but he was more or less somebody who gave me my first outlet podcast wise. And so I ventured into my own little thing here. I got my own little space, as you can see. And I'm now doing my own pod. And shout out to him. I'll be on his podcast this Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be a guest on Tony Television. Check that out tomorrow. That should be, I don't know if it's going to be live or if he's pre-recording his shows now, but I know for a fact that I will be on there tomorrow night. Excuse me. I don't know where I'm getting this from. I ain't even eating anything and I'm getting gas in the chest. But as I said before, shout out to Tony TV. He's on YouTube as well. Just put in Tony Television, TONY Television, and it should pop right up. Real cool logo. Shout out to him because he was very influential in me doing what I'm doing at this point. So that's been a real honor to be asked to be back on the show and everything like that. I also want to give a shout out to Mr. Slim, the homie Marcus, who's a real important cog in having me go to another facility to do this podcast. It was a retail store, the Crenshaw Wear store in South Central Los Angeles, Inglewood area. Shout out to them. And shout out to Marcus. Shout out to Just Lavina, another podcaster who I've also collaborated with on my show as well as been a guest on her show. Hope she's doing well and her family in this new year. Just wanted to get those out. Shout out to my son. Shout out to my two daughters and my non-binary daughter, Drew. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to Claudia, their moms. Just to get that all out the way to let everybody know I love them. And I'm out here trying to do my thing. With that all out the way, the first thing I wanted to talk about, which is kind of a serious thing. There was something going on. Police corruption is all over the United States. Let's just keep it for real on that. We know that already. There's a big scandal going on with Kobe Bryant's wife about the pictures the sheriff took of his death and Gigi's and his bodies after the crash. and that got distributed. I think she won that civil suit against the LA County Sheriff's Department. That was crazy. There's all type of corruption that goes on, but this is probably the strangest story, which I'm sure is happening in other police departments that we don't know about, and probably after those other departments who haven't been outed doing things of this nature saw this report, and they're probably on their P's and Q's now. But in Lucerne, Tennessee, the police department there has a sex scandal going, a sex scandal. I think 8 officers were fired involved in that sex scandal, which included one female officer, and I think all the rest of the officers were males, and they were all passing her around and even having sex while on duty in certain situations. While on duty. Also, one of the officers, or maybe 2, I'm not sure, I got some of the information here, but maybe 2 of the officers' wives were involved in a 3-way with the other female officer in question. This is a crazy situation, bro. Now, you're probably wondering, like, why is that relevant to talk about? Well, it's relevant to talk about for the simple fact that these are the people, even though they're in Tennessee and whatever state you in, that make you think about your police department in your area. Now, wouldn't it? Wouldn't you think? Like, I live in Los Angeles. I live in Los Angeles County, at least. You know, I'm right here by LA. I was in the heart of LA, last year until I moved to where I am now. But either way, this big ass police department. You got, and the female officers, male officers, we don't know what they do on their off time. And we shouldn't know. We shouldn't be prying unless they're doing something illegal. And the only way you're going to find out if they're doing something illegal or immoral, for that matter, is to dig, or at least get them caught up somewhere. And just like anything else, people always say this: anything you do in the dark is going to come to the light. It just is. So you got 8 officers down in Tennessee. Now, I know for a fact that community's faith in the police department is probably shaken beyond repair, even over that little incident. And I'll tell you why, because the simple fact is, even though that happened, and it's got nothing to do with like them doing anything to any public person or planting evidence of somebody or beating or killing African-American civilians or anything like that, it still would shake your confidence in the police department, for the simple fact that they're out there doing all these immoral things and they're sworn to protect people. So what happens if you call 911 and they're having sex somewhere, him and the female officer in question? And the really thing that broke my heart is there was 3 or 4 black officers that was involved in this immoral crap. Let me be very frank with you guys. Whoever's going to listen to this pod or watch this, I ain't perfect. I did some freaky things, but not no immoral things. I ain't never pedoed, I ain't never perverted or did nothing retarded ever. But of course I've lusted after women and done things with women and had, been with like in a tryst with 2 ladies. Sorry, it's just the truth. I was in the military. I was in Germany. I've been around. So, but there's just certain things you don't do. What I looked like having sex on duty when I was doing guard duty in the service when I was in the Army. How crazy would that be? And I'm sure that's happened too. I know for a fact that's happened, especially in mixed company units, where a lot of the adrenaline and the sex shit be really popping in them kind of, situations. You'd be surprised. You're talking about a young girl, 18, 19 years old, going to the military, going away from her mom and dad and them house for the first time. You know what I'm saying? Always having thoughts about sex. Of course she's going to explore. You know what I'm saying? Of course she's going to be out there trying to do her thing. So, in regards to the situation with the police in Lucerne, Tennessee, there's a grown people who have been sworn to protect the community, and they so busy freaking on each other and having sex parties, they probably not as concerned as they should be for the well-being of the people in the community. Let's be frank. That's exactly what is going on down there. My my faith, if I lived in that community, and that the police department would be shaken beyond repair, because I would always see them cars coming and be like, what are they doing in that car? Or if they did stop somebody for a speeding violation, you wouldn't have any respect for them. You know people are going to talk. Every time somebody gets in trouble, they're going to bring up that situation to the cops. That's going to make their job. The cops who've been there trying to do the job and go home to their wives and kids or husbands or whatever it is, the situation, that's going to make the good cops that's in that department job harder. They may not even want to work there no more. And see, that's the way this, we got to vet these police officers better. Obviously the psychological profiles and tests that they're giving officers is not working. Because you're getting some of the work now. Well, because you're getting some of the worst vestiges of people who's supposed to be controlling the laws. You're getting the worst candidates, from what I can tell. The worst candidates, the worst kind of people, who would feel like, okay, there's no crime in the city right now, so I'm going to go pull over to this area where we know in the back and have some sex with another officer. That's absolutely ridiculous. But obviously that's what's going on, because it's, the report is obviously true, and it's been founded that was going on in that city. But that also makes you think about, just like I mentioned, what do you think about the police force that you have in your city? Chicago, somewhere in Philadelphia, some black suburb of Philadelphia. What are they doing? What kind of immoral things are they doing? Are they planting? If they're having sex on the job, who's to say they're not planting evidence on people to get them convicted and get the statistics, crime statistics up in that area? Who says that's not what's going on? We have to think. And also we got to be careful and always be on our P's and Q's, because the setup is there. You can't live in fear. You can't be driving around here acting like, you can't live or do, this is the only reason I'm about to mention this is because tonight I have been accepted in the film role. I don't know if it's a TV show or not. I'm not even sure, but I know it's some kind of biker scene in a biker bar setting. I'll be getting these jobs. I don't know how I get these jobs as an actor, as a featured extra or whatever, but I just get them and they be helping out. You know what I'm saying? This money goes to, obviously, to maintain, you know what I mean? So I brought that up to say I'll be driving, in the evening. A brother should be able to not fear driving in no community, but we got to really think about where we drive when we dealing with the police. We got to think about that every time we go out. I don't care what age I am. Yeah, I get away with a lot. Not get away with, I'm going to say that because it sounds like I'm doing something illegal, but when I say I'm getting away with, most of the time the police just leave me alone and they don't bother me. And there's no reason to bother me anyway, but there's like my son or something, these cats be getting pulled over for nothing. And who's to say these guys don't have some kind of vendetta? See this young man grow up and become whoever he's going to be. Why not plant something on him? Why not put something in his car? You know what I'm saying? So if these cops are out here in Tennessee or Norfolk, we don't give a damn where they are, and they having sex in they, little sex rings and boning each other, passing each other around each other and doing all this kind of stuff. What else are they doing, man? And nobody's saying a cop got to be squeaky clean. And plus, being a cop is one of the hardest jobs in the world. There's no fucking, they couldn't pay me enough to ride around with a gun and some mace and try to stop some of the people that be out here that be tripping. People out here, every time you go to work as a police officer, especially if you work in a tough area, your life is on the line. That's why those cops kill you so quick, because it's a stressful job. I can't give them no license to do that. But that's the reason why I think the police should be trained longer. I know it's going to take more money to train them longer, but hell, sometimes you got to get, just like anybody who's rich would tell you, if you don't spend money on something, a product or something, it ain't no good. You know, you got to spend money to get good products. So if we want good police, we got to spend the money to train them. We do. Sensitivity training, the training to be able to deal with the mental, because they deal, I'm gonna tell you, about 30-40% of the shit they deal with is off some crazy mental shit. Somebody out there tripping. I'm telling you. They deal with so much of that fucking shit that the health department should be dealing with, or have some kind of street officers to go handle the mental situations. There should be another department for that. Cops should be out there catching robbers and rapists. And, you know, some nigga had a knife, tried to stab. Now, if these crazy people out here stabbing people, cops got to come and I'm sorry to say, they going to get their head shot off. Because somebody need to go and help these people get their medication right. That's a tough job. So I guess I can't give what happened to what these cops did in Tennessee no pass. I mean, you're out there having sex with people, and it's a big old thing, and they find out about it. That's it. You guys deserve to be fired. That's just ridiculous. You tarnishing the little so-called reputation of that so-called police department out there, whatever it is. So y'all kind of asked for that, but it still brings to light, what are these other police departments got in their skeleton closet, or, you know, what bones they got in their graveyard? Who's to say 2023 might bring it all out about all these police departments? And you know what's so funny? What if all of it does come out? You know what? They ain't gonna give a fuck. It ain't gonna care. It ain't gonna matter. But I'd love to know. Well, let's move on to something different. That's a crazy situation right there. And that's like in the news. You probably gonna hear about it if you ain't already seen about it. So it is what it is. But in sports, Deion Sanders is going crazy. This new transfer portal thing, the way that these kids can go from school to school now, way easier than they ever used to be, because the rules was against them being able to the coaches had a lot of power over these kids. They still do, but when it comes to the transfer portal, it gives these kids a lot of power. And a lot of these old school coaches, and a lot of them are white, does not like the new system. They hate it, because not only will it change the dynamics of where some of these great players, like if you I'll give an example of what I mean. Take an Alabama. Nick Saban, every year, top recruit class, top 5, every year. 5 to 4-star players, mostly 5-star players. We're talking, if they're a 5-star, they're the best that they position coming out of high school. He getting them guys all the time, every year. That's why they go into the national championship every year. All you got to do is coach them kids, tell them what you want to do the plays, and they're going to win for you. Well, with the new transfer portal, and this kind of worked out for Jalen Hurts, the cat who plays quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He played for Nick Saban, and Nick Saban didn't like the way he was playing, and he benched him and put Tua Vailoga. Now, I don't know if I can ever really say dude's name right, but I know Tua plays for the Miami Dolphins now. Got knocked out. They got knocked out the playoffs here recently against the Buffalo Bills because Tua couldn't play. But in regards to that, Jalen Hurts was real hurt behind that, and his father had, at that particular time, made news by saying he didn't like what Nick Saban did. So at that particular time, I believe, I'm not sure, but I think the transfer portal thing was in effect. And Jalen went straight over to Oklahoma, and he played that very next season as Oklahoma's quarterback. And if I'm not mistaken, he won the Heisman. I think he won the Heisman, but the whole point I even brought all that up is to say Deion Sanders has made a name for himself going to Jackson. and winning those 3 seasons and winning that, championship down there. I'm not sure. I think it's the MEAC, but I'm just guessing. I believe it's the MEAC championship. And because of that, got the Colorado Buffalo job. And the Colorado Buffaloes recruiting class is climbing the charts as we speak. They're getting 4- and 5-star kids coming to that school. And with Shedeur Sanders, his son, playing QB, this kid's, if I'm not mistaken, he's like 6'2", 6'3", with a golden arm. He was down there balling at Jackson. Now, this is the reason why I don't like sports in general as far as the media concerned, because the media is very biased when it comes to certain situations, especially when it's dealing with the hue that we have, the hue being our melanin, being Black and brown people. Just because that boy, this is Deion Sanders' son. If anybody know about big time college football as well as big time professional football, it would be that gentleman. And he went down there and he proved that he could coach and they'd win. Obviously, Deion realizes this is not a thing you do by yourself. So his staff had a whole lot to do with it. And the staff that he's put together in Colorado, like with an ex-running back played there at Colorado, Darian Hagan, that kind of stuff right there will get you wins. It'll get you W's if you get the right kids in there. And this man is showing up. I mentioned Nick Saban, the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's pissed off because it looks like not only Alabama going to get challenged every year, they've expanded the playoffs to 12 teams. I think it's taking effect in 2 years, if not next season or the season after next. So either way, it's going to get tougher for these teams to just, be number one all year and end up in the bowl playing these soft schedules. Now you got to play people and still win. And that's for seeding, meaning, the higher seed you get, of course, you'll get like games you won't have to play. You'll get a bye and things like that. And but see, it's changing. The landscape of sports is college football. As far as college football has changed, these kids have way more power to do what they want to do. And I respected and love that they did that for them, and also getting money off their likeness. I don't know how that's working out for any of these players, especially players that go to smaller schools. So I don't really know how that's helping them, as far as to eat and have extra money. It's got to be helping some kind of way, but I like that the kids got, more power. I do. There will be some that's going to abuse the system. Whenever you create any type of system, even if it's a system that works against one party or the other, one side's going to always figure some ways to bend the rules. Maybe not break them, but bend them. So it's some going to break them. But the simple fact that remains is I like the fact that they gave them kids the opportunity to get out of these coaches' grasp. But some of these coaches will dog them, bring them there and tell them they're going to be the next starter or the next this, that, and the third. And then, make a couple mistakes here and there. And then they put the next kid in. The next kid go out there and start zippity-doo-dahing. And he's the next, he's the new hot thing now. So they got that other kid sitting on the bench. I'm not finna go to school there for 4 years and go to practice getting killed if I'm not finna play. I'm just not finna do that. Backup quarterback to me in college means I'm the freshman that's gonna take this dude's spot when he leaves. That's what that is in college. There's no, like in the pros, I could see being a backup and just saying, fuck it. That's a job now. It's a job. You know what I'm saying? If I ain't good enough to be the starter, I'll back this nigga up. And I guarantee you when we get into the game, I'll manage the game or maybe even go out there and win a game. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on the person or, how the guy is. You know what I'm saying? Because teams don't know what their rookies are going to do. But when it comes to college, you can't be backing nobody up for 2-3 years. You fuck around, about to graduate. So that's the transfer portal is a cool thing to me. When coaches realize they're gonna have problems keeping guys at positions now, like quarterback. See, if you tell a guy, okay, he's starting, and the kid will sit there, okay, I'll go and play this year, but I'm transferring out next year. I'll back this out. I ain't got no choice but to back him up this year. But I'm out of here. Some of these kids gonna have 2 and 3 and 4 years of eligibility to play. You know, some have 2 years, even graduated and had 2, 3 years to play. All they doing is just hanging out and shit, they got their degree already. So it's things have changed. Things have obviously changed in the landscape of college football. In sports in general, let's take basketball in particular, the NBA. Now, college basketball to me is taking a step back because kids are so good now. They're just coming straight to the NBA developmental league. Kids are not going to college anymore in college basketball. Now you can go watch those games, but when you look at those games, you see the skill level ain't there. Those guys are good now. Don't get me wrong. The NBA is going to find some dudes in the NCAA tournament coming up that's going to be out there getting it. And they're going to be some standouts. But this is going to be limited. It's going to be limited, super great guys coming out of college. Because most of the cats that's super great, super athletic, that would have went to Duke or Wisconsin or whatever school, those cats is bypassing that shit. They're not going to these schools no more. Even with the NAI, even with the likeness deals and being able to cash out on your likeness in college, basketball players are like, nah, we don't need that. See, we could make more just going straight to the NFL kids. I get it. I'm the college football players. I'm happy for them more than I'm happy that this NAI thing or whatever the deal where you can, make money off your likeness as a college or amateur. It only works out better for the football players than it does the basketball players. The basketball players, they're like, man, we can make 3-4 times what their little money they're going to give us. So the guys you seeing playing in college basketball now, they're good. Some of them are really good. Some of them are pros, close to being pros. But most of them ain't like superstars yet. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some diamonds in the roughs that the NBA going to find out the college basketball. It's not the same. If you don't believe me, go watch any of those games. Those games be boring as hell. They used to be so big because you had a name. You had some kid they talking about. These kids, they'd be mentioning so-and-so is averaging this. He's an All-American. I'm looking at him like, I don't know him. And I you know what I'm saying? And when I watch him play, it's like, yeah, all right. So it is what it is. Sports has changed. The NFL has changed. It has. It's not the same anymore. It's not as exciting as it used to be. I'm a Cowboy fan, and I was trying to give up my Cowboy fan card. I really was. I'm getting tired of the mediocrity, and here they go. They win against Tampa Bay, who ain't shit. Let's be real. Stephen A. Smith is waiting for them to play San Francisco coming up this weekend in San Francisco, and everybody talking about how good their D is. They got this Brock Purdy kid. He's a rookie. He's the third stringer on their team. So both of them, Garoppolo and Trey Lance, get hurt, and this third string kid comes in, and he's out here throwing darts and got that offense moving up there, and the defense is following suit. So all of that stuff about Dallas, and they're all on SportsCenter talking about Stephen A. because Stephen A. hate the Cowboys. Stephen A. is going to take all of that. He's going to take all of it because he's already assuming they're going to get killed. Dallas has to prove. These are the games to take you to the divisional round and to the Super Bowl. The Dallas Cowboys have to prove that they deserve to be there. Because as far as I'm concerned, the only team that's really about that life, the only team that's really about that life in the NFL playoffs in the NFC is the San Francisco 49ers. No disrespect to the Giants or Philadelphia. No disrespect to neither one of those teams. But I'm going to tell you right now, if the Dallas Cowboys beat the 49ers, they will beat the next team in the NFC Championship game. I don't care who that is, because the 49ers is the real deal. The 49ers mess around and go to the Super Bowl, I believe they could win it. I don't care if it's KC. I don't care if it's Buffalo. If the Jaguars happen to sneak past both of them teams or whoever, because Buffalo, who is Buffalo playing? If I don't even remember now. Oh, the Bengals. The Bengals is nice. The Bengals one of them teams that's real sneaky. They play super great one day and then they be like, the next day. Joe Burrow is the truth. And he's got his team. I mean, that's the number one pick that's the best number one pick the Cincinnati Bengals have made in over 50 years is Joe Burrow. He's the best quarterback the Cincinnati Bengals have ever had in that franchise's history. Let's just be real. That's real talk. And it's the truth. So this is the thing. Football has changed. There's even rumors that football is fixed. In my heart of hearts, I don't know if that's true or not. It's so much money changes hands. Some people always have realized that wrestling was fake. And there's actually people who out there believe that this shit is real to this day. Even grown people that fall in love with it. It just shows you how easy people can be entertained and lock into something and believe in it and love it so much that they'll just say whatever and just do whatever when it comes to the situation. They'll be like, I just love it so much, it's real to me. Football always been a tough sport. People be out there getting killed. And I'm not saying the Hamlin situation, I'm not throwing anything out there. There's all kind of rumors out there that all this stuff is a setup. But I know one thing, football has been a beloved sport since its inception. There was times when it was gonna fold because people didn't want to go out there in that weather and look at it, and they just kept at it. That's one particular thing, just like the NBA, because it was about to fold at one time. These sports, if you put your money and your time into anything, just like these owners did over the years, a lot of these teams have changed hands over the years, but they had to have made money for another dude to want to buy the thing. And the league had to have grown and kept growing in order for it to, be viable to buy a team or want a team in any professional sport. So, we got all kind of sports coming out. We got frisbee golf. Got professional badminton. I couldn't believe that when I heard that. Professional badminton teams out there that actually 40, 50 people probably show up to. The professional beach volleyball. Yeah. Dodgeball leagues. Lingerie football. I mean, it's whatever people are going to be entertained by. If it's dealing with sport or throwing a ball or hitting somebody, boxing, you name it, they're going to try to make money at it. You already know. It's America, baby. It's what we do. You know what I'm saying? I ain't seeing nobody on the lizard today. But it's all good. We still doing what we doing here. The truth be told, the thing that's been the weirdest thing for me is the weather. The weather has been really, really weird. Windy, rainy for California, and cold for California is very, very odd. I've had some cold winters here in the state of California, but never this windy and never this rainy. And I know I've moved to a different area where it's more a little close to the canyons almost, and get a lot of winds in this area, in the valley. So, but we should get winds too where I used to live. The winds, one thing about the winds in California, they call it the Santa Anas, the Satan winds or whatever. It gets pretty wild. In certain areas, it gets so wild, it's almost like hurricane winds, you know what I mean? But I ain't never seen it as windy as it's been this year, or rainy or cold. And the wind is blowing now. I can hear it outside. And I wonder to myself, is the global warming thing really a thing? Are we setting ourselves up for failure here? And I say we because even though I don't own none of these companies or these gas companies or drilling for something, oil or whatever we're doing out there that's messing up the environment, we don't say enough about this stuff or make enough noise And there's so much money being made. A lot of times, if you get a group going where they're really making some noise, that's when they take your ass out. But anyway, even though that might that's a conspiracy theory in itself, truth be told, could we be really messing up our atmosphere so much to where it actually harm us physically? People are dying out there in these flash floods and these rogue tornadoes and these crazy hurricanes. You know, is it a part of some plan to actually like try to kill off as many people as you can? I mean, it's weird for me to even ask these questions, but it's kind of crazy that there's so many people out there doubting the science. I remember a time when science was the root. I mean, not the root, but the rule of the day. But now it's the root of all evil. You know, I don't understand where, I don't know. It's like the dark ages or something. People are thinking so differently than they did before. You know, it's getting to the point where everybody with this false spirituality and, they're making fools out of people who are true evangelicals who really believe in a higher power and that, and everything. They're making fools of those people because they're scaring the hell out of them. Keep talking about all this destruction and everything and immorality to where, and also believing against science, true science. And then people on the other side will sit there and go, well, you know what, science might be wrong. And then you start doubting it. There's so much confusion out there that people need to realize that all you're doing is scaring people more and more until you get to a point where people feel like they got to do something weird, like shoot up a store or something. We need to chill. We need to calm down and be rational. Fear is eating this place that we call where we live, this country that we supposedly built and kicking it with each other. And all kind of truths are coming to the surface about, what the world is all about and how we, gonna coexist with each other in the next 100 years. It doesn't look good the way we acting. It doesn't look good. I hate to be dreary. I hate to have one of these podcasts today because I haven't had any guests, but I got a whole bunch of people coming up. I don't really want to start dropping names, but I'm thinking this Friday, if I remember correctly, I'm gonna have a somebody on here, a real talented young lady. I know it's gonna be cold in here. I hope I can, figure out a way to get it a little warmer up in here. I think I might buy a small heater or something, but this studio is a little chilly. But I got some more people coming, some very, talented people coming. And before they come, I will announce who they are and have, a photograph so you could know who's going to be coming down the pipe. I got a hip hop artist who had hit me up on Instagram who I met at a showcase recently that's real interested in being on the show. And I couldn't be more happy to have him or have her, the one I mentioned earlier, or anybody for that matter. And that's coming again. So with that said, I hate to have such a dark criteria that we've been talking about today, but that kind of stuff has been on my mind. And I think in a podcast, if you're going to have a podcast, and believe me when I say this, somewhere at some corner store or some bodega or some barbershop or even in the laundromat, somebody is having some deep conversation about politics, race, or something with somebody, homies, some people, somebody just met cleaning their drawers. Telling you, I've seen it, I've watched it, whether it's about sports, politics, what's going on in the city, crime. That's the reason why I came up with this concept. And my little shit is called Corner Store Podcast, because that's what we do. We chop it up in here. I chop it up about what I'm thinking, and I chop it up about what's going on in the day. So that's really what it's all about for me. I realize something that's very important. I look at a lot of other pods, and I try to rationalize or fill out what I should be or how I should be, or should I be like that person or this person or whatever. I know there's one thing I can't do. I can only do what I can do. And what I've been able to come up with has been pretty substantial, on the budget that your boy, has got to work with. So God has been real good to me. So for me to even be able to do this and come on here live and chill for a hot minute, I don't have no super edits or anything like that. I just got a backdrop. I got a space to do, talk to the folks, and I got a little small package of equipment, and I get on here and pop off. So I got a few subscribers from that. Some people that actually get, subscribe to it. I hope they feel it when they watch it, whatever. If not, hey, it is what it is. But we out here trying to get it in and talk about some things, you know what I mean? And also bring to you some people that's doing some interesting things and locally in my part of the world. Hopefully soon or later, we're going to be getting some people that's doing some things out there abroad, which I have actually. I had a Costa Rican actress, spokesperson, and model on the show when I was on Tony TV. So, I've had some crazy, interesting people to talk to and also have opinions with them about certain things about acting and about, what they trying to do in their career and also how they feel about what's going on in the world as well. Dex is a cool boy. Your boy Dex is real cool. To be a 56-year-old cat, I don't act my age or nothing. Not saying I'm immature. As you can see, I ain't close to that shit. But what I am is a person that just goes with the flow. I'm going to always be the kind of cat that I am. Of course, everybody could do better in any situation in their life. And that's exactly what I'm going to continue to do is grind. Don't stop grinding. Do not stop grinding until you take a dirt nap. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to put you in the earth for you to stop trying to be the best you can be. Remember that. I remember that. I wake up every day thanking God for another day and another opportunity to grow, to be better, to find that perfect project to be in, to find that perfect project to help someone create. Also create what you're trying to create. Most of the things that we do is it comes from absolutely nowhere. It's usually given as a gift from God most of the time. But with faith also comes work too. In other words, you got to be trying to do something. If you decide you want to do something, you fight to do that, and you also give it up to the Almighty and let Him help guide you into the situation. But you got to be out there trying to get it every day. Small steps, baby steps. Next thing you know, you're running, and that's real. I'm going to be trying to have a guest coming this Thursday. Tonight, I will be in a TV show, film. I'm not sure what this is, but I know it's a bar scene. Your boy got to make some money tonight. This is probably going to be a 6-hour shoot. Crazy. I'm going to Burbank, California to do that. And, I'm saying I had to get my pod in before I got up out of here. Talked about a couple things. Talked about the weather. Crazy weather we've been having. Talked about a little bit about police corruption in Tennessee, but it's going on everywhere the same, just like that, all over the country. And I know I might have been a little bleak, a little dark today, talking about what's going on, but let's keep it real. All we can do is keep on trying, loving on our families, and hoping for the best, and try to see if we can change things little by little, This has been the Corner Store Podcast, and I hope y'all come tune in this Thursday between maybe 5 or 6. Just there's a window I usually kind of either I'm on at 5 or it'll be a little bit after 5 or almost 6 o'clock. So I usually say that. So it's about that hour right there, Pacific time. Thank you for joining me. And hopefully, because I really had nobody on live tonight. I hope you guys enjoy. Have a good night. And come check me out later on. Peace. Yeah. Yeah. Hey.